The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon or good morning, depending upon where you are. This is Mark Lauritsen again. I'm here with Claudia Johnson and Miranda Migueli from Pro Bono Net, and we're in class group call number 3 on September 11th, 2018. I'm only a century off. This is one of our regular calls to informally go through the intervening work and answer any questions you may have about it. We've posted a recording of last week's call in the online library, which I've got on the screen. So if you're curious to review anything we talked about last week, you can listen to that. And there's also a recording of the very first call we had back at the end of August, introducing the course and the overall strategies. We'll do the same today. This call is being recorded. Our main focus today is to do two things: to review the work we asked you to do in this second module, and to preview the work that's coming up in the third module. And those are all, again, explained and linked to in the online library, the Resource Center for Well Help Interactive. Let me just give Claudia Johnson a chance to say hello. Claudia, just say hello, and anything you want to mention quickly while you've got the floor.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mark.
And if not, I'll do this.
I don't know if you guys are hearing me. Thank you all for coming. I hope you hear me. We don't have any major announcements other than in 2 weeks we're going to be a more advanced session for those of you who want to do more advanced hot dogs skill learning, looking at insert and assemble commands. If you are not getting the emails about these additional training opportunities, make sure that you sign up to the email list. And that was all in the introduction materials, because that's how we send training opportunities and materials or resources we provide and prepare for the community. So I have sent 2 emails on this. So if you're not getting them, they may be coming from the developer, document assembly developer list, or an announcement list that's more general. So if you're not getting them, sign up for the email list. And if you don't know how to find the email list, just feel free to email me and I send you the link. But we do these training calls for the full community once a month. And some are technical, some are not technical. On the 25th, I believe, is when it is. It's going to be technical. So I hope some of you can join us. Oh, and one more thing. If you get the survey from the GoToMeeting, if you get a Survey Monkey link, please answer it, because we review it before each call to make sure that there are not areas that we need to review before we jump into the new material. So that's a way to give feedback to us anonymously, because I just pull it from the Survey Monkey, and then from that we decide, okay, we're gonna cover this material in case anything needs a little bit of review before we get into the nitty-gritty of the homework. So just try to answer the survey if you get it, because you're gonna get it via email from GoToWebinar. And that's it.
Great, thank you, Claudia. So as usual, we have most of you folks muted, but if you want to say anything audibly, raise your hand or put a note in the question pane, and we can unmute you and respond to any questions or comments. But we do have 2 volunteers who have agreed to try to show their work and explain what they did and raise any problems or epiphanies they may have had. And without further ado, let me introduce one of them. Paige, are you prepared to be made presenter? I'm going to unmute you. And
yes,
so
I'm here and I'm prepared.
Excellent. All right, that's what I'd like to hear. I'm going to make you presenter. So why don't you take the screen and show us at least some of what you did and any issues you might have had.
Okay, so I just selected share screen. Are you all seeing my screen now? I'm scrolling down. Yes. Okay. I pretty much just followed through the video and then went through again and tried to do it myself. I had some problems with the find and replace function. It wasn't finding or replacing anything, and I'm not sure why. Maybe I could just start with that since I've got the component manager open.
Sure.
Okay. So we were supposed to do the find city and replace with city/town.
Okay.
And I would do that, and then it would just say no components were changed.
Okay.
So I'll go through it again, maybe more. And it would do the same thing if I tried find. So if I did find, it would do city.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there it is. Okay. It does find city in that situation, right?
Yeah, that's the first time that happened, so I'm not sure why it did that. But yeah, again, back at the find and replace, it was saying no components were changed. I'm just not sure what I'm doing wrong there. If I'm not selecting match case or anything like that, I don't know if anyone else had a similar problem.
Right. I am clueless at the moment, so if anybody's got an answer to that, we'd appreciate hearing it. It definitely found it, right? The word city, the string city was present in this dialogue, as you showed us, right?
Yeah.
But when it came to replace it.
Right. It's just not finding them for whatever reason.
Okay.
So another problem I had was with the logo. I think we talked about this a little bit last week. It shows about half of the logo instead of the full logo. So I didn't know how to resolve that issue either.
Okay. One thing to quickly try is to, if you're going to be presenting this in an online mode, try running this very same interview in browser, test in browser. So if you just close your test interview you're in right now, the X in the top, yep. And yep, you can close your component editor too. That'd be good. And now go back to your hot docs library would be the simplest way to do this.
Okay.
And then from the top where it says template on the main menu, choose test in browser and JavaScript. And okay, it needs to be enabled for server, so enable it. Click that. Yep. Now if you click OK, you'll see how this should render in a browser interview. And very often, graphical files render differently in the online mode, and this is probably closer to what you want.
Yeah, it looks better.
So if this is the destination for it and this works, it's probably not worth going any deeper. But it's not uncommon to have issues with graphical files, and you just have to play around with sizing them. It's the short answer. There's no magic tricks I know about. But this is important to realize that even if it looks bad when you're just running it locally on your desktop, if it's a template you expect to be delivering through the online service, very often that the image will render much more.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So keep going. Yeah, what else did you run into, if anything?
I mean, I had noticed just that if you were adding or deleting characters, like we kind of talked about last week, that I basically would just have to start over the entire line of text if you were doing an if-else statement or something like that. If you hit the equal sign right afterwards and then it kind of deselects it, it's better to just start all over from the beginning and retype everything from the beginning. But I think otherwise I pretty much was able to run through it. I don't know if there's anything specific you want me to show you.
No, although I'm not quite following the point you just made about having to start over. So you were doing an if statement?
Yeah, so if I were, well,
yeah.
I'm not really sure. Where would I go to show you what I'm talking about? Like if I want to do an if-else statement without messing with this one? Maybe I guess.
You just put some dummy text in the next line maybe, and you could do it anywhere.
Okay. I would use the if field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, ordinarily, you would highlight some segment of text. So cancel this for a second. Right. Just type a few characters there on that line where your cursor is. Imagine that you wanted to make that conditional.
Okay.
So you'd highlight that as something that should be made conditional. Press the if field, right?
Okay.
And then it could either be conditional on a specific variable, which I think is what we did above.
Right.
Or below for the pregnancy one. Where you can pick from a list, right? Yeah. So is this where you ran into trouble?
Like if I was typing in if here, well, I guess I'm just having. I apologize for my confusion. I'm just not sure how to get to a screen where you type in that if and else.
Okay. Okay. Let's cancel this, and I think I know where you're going. So now here go to on the top where it says variable versus expression. Click on the radio button of expression. This is where you would be able to type in some arbitrary logical expression. Like if judicial district number equals 9, use this word, or so you could type anything here. It just needs to be a valid script.
So I guess what I was finding was if I would like delete that and then try to type it back in again, I was having a hard time with that. So I was just completely retyping the entire line, but I'm not having that problem now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ordinarily, you shouldn't need to delete everything, but sometimes it's less confusing to do that. You'll notice one thing that happens, right, is when you start typing a variable name, once you completely type it, it turns blue. So hot to confirm that it's an existing component, which is handy. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I didn't have any other problems that I specifically made note of. I mean, I did it first, and then I would figure them out. Like I couldn't figure out how to make the multiple choice a drop down for a while, and then I figured that out. So I had a list of things I wanted to bring up, but then I started slowly kind of figuring them out.
You actually answered. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, I think as we go through the course, the homework gets a little more inscrutable. We just sort of tell you to do things, and we don't tell you exactly how. So part of that is just to make you feel nimble on your feet, navigating through this strange world of hot dogs.
Okay.
I'm just gonna check the room to see if anybody's got their hand raised. I don't see any questions. That thing about find and replace is new to me. It may occur to me later, but I don't have an immediate answer why that would not work, because there was the presence of that word city, and you were simply trying to replace it with city/town, so it should work. I can try it on my own copy in a second. Thank you, Paige. Valencia, you were also willing to be a presenter and to be a guinea pig for this. Are you in? I'm going to unmute you.
Sure.
And I hear your voice. Can I safely make you presenter?
Sure, yeah.
All right. So we're going to move to Valencia Kaplinski being our presenter. And you've done, I assume, similar homework. Did you run into any of the same issues or different ones?
I just have 3 screens here, so are you able to see the screen with the Word document?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I did not run into any issues. I was able to run through the homework fine. I do have one question though. Did we ever get the states component file? Because it was referred to in the video and in the homework document, and I never saw that anywhere. I ended up making my own.
I mean, that should be installed as part of your hot docs installation, and if you want, we can go to it right now from your screen. So if you want to bring up your component manager on the top bar, and go to the other component file side. Open that up again. Yeah. Now you'll need to navigate, I think, to the templates library. Oh wait, there it is on the bottom. State CM.
That's the one I made myself because I couldn't find it anywhere else.
So you made that yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And if you open it, it has nothing in it at this point, or does it have a?
I copied over a state multiple choice variable, but it doesn't have, I think, the
default merge text.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let me take back the screen for a second and see if I can navigate to that same thing in my copy.
Okay.
So hang on a second. All right, so here I am in my desktop. If I go to this copy of the template in progress, and I go to Component Manager myself, I think the issue is, oh, this is, yeah, okay. State CMP. Yeah, this is the file. I think the trick is this is in the template directory. So in other words, this is in Hot Docs templates, as opposed to the special directory you may have created for your particular exercise. Does that make sense to you? Or because it's and so it's a component file that has one component in it, namely employee state,
Mm-hmm.
which is part of what Hot Docs installs on your desktop when you set up your original installation of Hot Docs. And that's got all the states and the corresponding 2-letter abbreviation as merge text.
Okay, I found that. Okay. It's under, for me, it's under Hot Docs,
Okay.
tutorials, docx folder. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
So in a different folder. Yeah, that may be it. It may be a question of which version of Hot Docs you're running, and when, because my environment, I've installed Hot Docs so long ago, things are not necessarily in the same place as you guys. Lindsay, did you run into other issues? Did everything make kind of logical sense once you got into the swing of it?
Yep, everything was good at the time. Yeah, when I made so this wasn't in the video, but when I made the caption in its own insert variable, it didn't show up automatically in the Hot Docs library. Is that normal? I ended up adding that also just so I can visualize it there. Was that fine for the sub template to not show up in the Hot Docs library? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay. So you have in this very template here, and this is just a copy of what Bart had done on week 2. Are you already on to the next exercise of creating caption templates, or how did that work?
Well, this was in the week 2 homework document. It wasn't in the video, but it was in the homework. So it said, highlight the caption of your divorce petition, click the insert field button. Yeah, so it was in the homework, but it wasn't in the video, so I ended up doing that.
Okay. That's why I'm confused. Yep.
See.
Okay.
Yep.
Let me check. Say again?
It's the second bullet from the top on your screen.
All right. Okay. Interesting. So Bart didn't actually do it in this iteration of the recording, which is what confused me.
Okay.
So, all right. Which is why it's not in the copy I have. All right. Let me ask other people. Anyone else have questions or concerns about what happened in week 2? I know we threw it a lot at you, including some things that are not in the video. This is a chance to raise questions, comments about this chunk of work. I know some parts were somewhat counterintuitive, like the way we handled the questions. That was definitely a little bit odd, I would say, right? We're assuming a male-female traditional marriage, which is counterfactual these days. But we had the prompts for these variables actually depend upon the gender of the parties, right? So when we test this template in its current state, if the petitioner is male, we ask, is your wife pregnant? Whereas if the petitioner is female, we ask, are you pregnant? So not the most politically correct implementation, but it's designed to show at least hot docs mechanics, where the very prompt can be conditional. And then we have the odd, I think, a relatively odd situation where if the petitioner is not the, if the non-pregnant person is not the father, we include the second sentence, right? So once again, we're basing it upon a negative expression, if not paternity, TF. But I'm just babbling. I don't mean to go on here myself. Other people, questions, comments about week 2? Are you running into any troubles doing this? Keep in mind, you're welcome to contact Claudia, Miranda, or me in between classes if you do. But these weekly sessions are meant to be a chance to air anything that went wrong or surprised you. I'm not seeing any comments or questions.
I guess I have.
I'm just going to keep. Please go. Yeah, Valencia, you're on mute.
A question. This is something I could have played around with, but the question just popped in to my head. For the grounds for divorce conditional statement, we did if the variable equals separation, print, show one statement, and then instead of doing
right.
If equals, I forget what was it, divorce, show the other statement. We just did an else instead.
Breakdown.
So what happens
Yes.
if we end up throwing a third option? Does it break, or will it prompt us to have 3 steps? So if equals this, then if equals that, and then a final else statement.
Yeah, I mean, you can have as many as you want. It would just be, the first one will be if, the second will be else if, and some other condition. And then
So
the third,
So if we end up changing the grounds for divorce multiple choice variable to have a third option, will we just have to know that we'll have to go in and change our conditional statements?
Yeah, exactly. If you want to handle all 3 or 4, however many there are in the document, you would need to make sure you had a corresponding number of branches in this paragraph, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the syntax is pretty. I'll quickly do one. I'll mess up this template, I think, but let's see. We have grounds for divorce. That's this multiple choice right here. Right now it has 2. Let's see. We'll just say something else, right? So we have a third ground now, and I'm just going to grab a copy of that because I'll use that text in a moment. Now in my template, I'm gonna and this is something you could do manually most easily. And let me just stick this something else right here. I'm just going to grab this little chunk of logic. And say else if grounds for divorce equals and the thing else is what it equals. Sorry here. Lost my chevron. And this would be the language for the something else scenario. All right, so that was kind of a clumsy way to show you, but this would be, it works, right? So now if I wanted to confirm that this works, and again, you got to make sure you've got no errors. We'll find out in a second. But let's just say we want to just test this one paragraph. So I highlight this, or I select this in order to test it. I do a test assemble. And okay, I had one running, so okay. So let's just show them. Okay, so grounds for divorce presumably is not even in the. We don't have a dialogue yet for this. Looks like. And of course, I'm working on a copy of this template that was done after class 4, so it's not exactly consistent. Let me just quickly go back and find out why. And I hope this kind of jumping around, as frustrating as it may be, sometimes is useful to see how a veteran will navigate through a template. Bart obviously created an interview computation. And for the moment, I'm just going to ask, because he doesn't have that anywhere in here, I don't think. I do see there's a comment, and there's somebody is raising some attention. I'm going to get to you in a second. Let's get back to here. I do a test assemble. I'm just trying to show what happens with this new grounds for divorce option. We made this question required. Okay, so now we have 3 options. If I say separation, I'll get the expected language, all right? The marriage is usually broken. If I say marital discord, I'll get the other one in that. And then if I choose our new something else option, I should get my very meaningful text that I typed into our template. So a very long-winded way to answer your question, Valencia, but hopefully that explains it. So yes, you can have as many as these as you want, but the last one is basically the fallback. If nothing else is true in this whole series, then use this expression. Okay. I see Claudia or Miranda has posted something in the chat, so there's a link to the recording for the next community call on the 25th. But let's see, does anyone else have a question or comment so far about what we did in week 2 or what I just showed you? Valencia, anything else on your mind while you've got the floor?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Let me just jump to where we are in the process. We are about to begin the 3rd week of content. So we've been through the 1st week and the associated recording, been through the 2nd week, which we just talked about, and Bart's recordings for that. 3rd week is going to be a lot later in terms of your homework. The actual class that you're going to listen to has 2 parts. The first is about A to J author, where Jessica Frank is going to has presented, and the links for those recordings are in the current version of the syllabus, but they're also, more importantly, right here in the folder for group call 3. So A to J author part 1, part 2. These are the videos to listen to corresponding to Jessica's part of this 3rd week of material. The last part of this week's material is a short thing by me on PDF templates. And back in the library, there's a recording for that as well. I think it's about 20 minutes long. And the homework relates entirely to the PDF. There's no A to J homework. So you'll find the materials and homework for class week 3 is in that very same folder. It has you go through and download this California petition for dissolution of marriage, which is this guy right here. This is a simple PDF file that you're going to exercise in the homework and create some hot docs variables on top of. And as mentioned, the homework should take you maybe an hour or two. It's not a big lift. And you'll be creating some fields on that PDF file. We'll create a PDF template and automate a few aspects of it and play around with the formatting of the fields. And that's all you need to do. So it's a little bit lighter than week 2 and lighter than what you're going to get in week 4. I see also, I'm just looking in background here, Claudia has posted a link to a presentation in gender language in light of our talk about the odd male-female choices in this Montana dissolution petition. So we've had a whole session about how to handle gender much more respectfully than I just described. So that's what's coming up. I do want to ask for a couple of volunteers like Paige and Valencia did today to show your work next week when we get into reviewing week 3. So here's your chance. Aaron is already gone. I see Aaron out there, but he's already presented. Does anyone want to raise your hand, or otherwise let me know that you're willing to show what you will be doing this week? Aldo, I see you're raising your hand. I'm going to interpret that as a volunteer. So I'll put down Aldo. Thank you very much. Anyone else I can talk into being willing to volunteer to present and to raise questions just in front of the rest of us with the relatively easy work that's involved in week 3 of automating a PDF template. Okay, and LaDeirdre, thank you very much. All right, we got 2. That's probably enough. The rest of you are going to have to vie for opportunities to present in weeks 4 and 5 and beyond. Let's see. I'm not seeing any other questions or hands. I see Liz also volunteered, so I'm going to put Liz down as well. So we may have 3 people that we can take turns giving the floor to next week. I think it helps, makes this much more interactive when real people rather than me are talking. Good. Miranda or Claudia, have you heard any other questions or comments that we should address?
Not here, and I'm not seeing anything on the chat either. So I think we're good. If anybody wants to talk about other aspects of online forms, feel free to email me. As you work on this, you're gonna see that there's a lot of other things that go into creating forms, including having like strategies about how you're going to handle gender neutrality when you have same-sex couples seeking custody and things like that, like words like wife, etc., are very gendered, or any other planning, like funding, potential barriers you think may exist in your state, grants that fund this work, how to talk to A to J commissions, etc. There's a whole lot of things that have to kind of work around supporting the forum. So just feel free to reach out and we can do one-on-ones, or we can even program it into one of the monthly calls. So we may already have covered that recently, so we can share with you a recording so that you can look at that and then reach out for more support. So just a reminder that this is not the complete how you do a successful online forms project, just the authoring of the form and that level of skill. So, which is not just it's a huge time and investment. So that's it.
But it's definitely not all. Definitely not all of it, right, Claudia? There's a whole other universe of sort of political and organizational challenges, content, etc. Yeah.
And we're here to help you figure those things out and then guide you with what other states have done and what other solutions people have done, and things that work really well in some conditions and may not work really well in other conditions, because no legal aid and the practice of law is as local as dentistry. It's just as local as ophthalmology. It's all very local. So there's luckily 42 jurisdictions working on this. So there may be analogs for your projects.
Okay, so for you guys, there are about 11 of you in this call, by the way. You can't see each other, unfortunately, given the way GoToWebinar works. We welcome your participation. Sounds like you guys are doing well. Hopefully, you're going to keep doing well. The instructions for the next class are right here. Watch the recordings. For class 3, there's 3 of them in total, 2 on A2J and 1 on Hot Docs PDF. Do the homework, which you'll find in the Resource Center. This is an overestimate. I don't think you need quite that much time, but maybe you do. And then join us again here a week from today, same time, same place. We'll go through the homework for week 3 and raise any questions and then preview the week after that. So thank you very much, and until next time.
Thank you. Just quickly, I opened up the attendee list.
Oh, you did? Okay. So I
we can do that.
People can see each other after all. Yeah, great. That's a good idea. We want to be transparent as possible.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.